Don't watch this if you already know how to stop trips tight end. In today's video, we're going to be showing you why cover 4 palms is the defense you should be running. What's going on, VLP? I'm Colt45, and today we're going to be showing you the palms defense. All right, let's go ahead and quickly talk about the rules of palms. We're going to go ahead and count from left to right in this scenario, and I want you guys to be paying attention to the trip side of the field. Both outside corners are going to be locked on to the number 1 wide receiver on each side of the formation. So in this case, we've got Arnold. He is going to be man-to-man on the number 1 wide receiver that is sitting over top of him. Over on the other side of the ball, we have Richard Sherman, and he's going to be locked onto the tight end man-to-man. To show you this, I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 different routes, and we're going to show you on the left side of the screen, over on the trip side, you're going to see that Arnold is going to follow his receiver all the way down the field because he is locked on to that receiver. To drive this home even more, let's go ahead and put Hines Ward on a smoke route, and you're going to see that again, Arnold is just going to sit there on his opponent or on his wide receiver because again, he's locked on to that wide receiver. Now let's go ahead and pay attention to Richard Sherman on the other side of the formation, and you're going to see again, as our rules state, the outside corners are locked on to the number 1 wide receivers. So as we watch this play out, you're going to see that Sherman is guarding the tight end wherever he goes. And to drive this home even more, we're going to go ahead and put Olsen on a streak, and you're going to see that Richard Sherman is going to follow him all the way down the field because again, he's locked on. Now let's go ahead and talk about the safeties, okay? This one is where you've got to be able to count to understand how this is going to work, okay? These safeties are going to take vertical number 2, okay, which is going to be Puka Nacua if vertical number 3 is not happening here, okay? So just to kind of show you how this works here, we know that the outside is going to be taking vertical number 1, and let's go ahead and put Nacua on a streak, and then we're going to put Steve Smith on a flat route to show you how this works. So again, safety is going to take the number 2 receiver in the trips vertical if there is no number 3 vertical. In the instant replay, we see that number 2 is the only one that is going vertical. Therefore, the safety is going to take him. This is because number 3, which happens to be this guy right here, okay, Steve Smith, is going on a flat route. He is not going vertical. Therefore, that quarter flat is going to take that, while the number 2 is being taken by the safety over top here. Now, what happens if number 2 goes vertical and number 3 goes vertical? Let's check it out. So in our previous example, we had Steve Smith on a flat route, and then we had Puka on a vertical seam, okay? But what happens if Steve Smith ends up going on a vertical? Okay, this is where the quarter flat is going to come into play. So with 3 vertical routes on the same side of the field against palms, 1 is going to take the first wide receiver. The quarter flat is then going to take number 2, and then you're going to see that the safety is going to take that number 3 vertical. So as you can see, everything is getting picked up down the field. And as we can see, the safety's assignments adjust based on which kind of vertical routes are actually happening. Now you're probably wondering what happens when number 2 and number 3 and all of these other guys that are not locked on by the outside corners are going on shallow routes. Well, the safeties will go ahead and help over top, while that allows your linebackers to be able to take over those underneath routes. And with this, you guys see that everything is getting with the flow of traffic, and we're able to get coverage all the way down the field. Let's go ahead and watch this replay here, and you can see that with these underneath routes, the linebackers do a really good job with their mid zones and quarter flats dispersing these routes as they cross the field. And as we mentioned earlier, we told you that the safeties, if there's nothing going vertical for them to cover, they're actually going to be looking for work to help over top. So in this instance, we actually see Earl Thomas looking at number 2, seeing that he is not going vertical, looking at number 3, seeing he's not going vertical, and then looking for work to where he is actually helping over top with that streak down the field. Now that you know the general rules on how Palms works, let's go ahead and see how it looks against some of the most popular setups in trips tight end. Now, a really popular setup out of trips tight end is this right here, where we've got on the trip side, we've got a flat route, we've got an in route, and then we've got that long crosser with paired with that streak from the tight end. Now, Palms does a really good job of guarding this, and as you can see, everybody's manned up correctly and everything is bagged down the field. And as you can see in the instant replay from our rules, we know that the outside corner is locked on to that wide receiver, so he's gonna follow him wherever he goes in that route progression. And in that same play, we notice that the quarter flat ends up taking number 2 to the flat because he is on a quarter flat. And here's the kicker with this. We know that the safety is going to take the vertical from number 3. And as you see on that crosser, Earl Thomas is following him all the way down the field with some help from the linebackers and the safety, Cam Chancellor. And if you remember back to our rules of how Palms works, we know that Richard Sherman is locked on to the tight end if he goes vertical down the field. And as you can see, he's running down with the tight end all the way down the field. Now, a really popular route setup that a lot of trips tight end users like to use against match coverage is this one that we see on the screen from the trip side, okay? They'll usually do a smoke route, they'll do a streak from the middle, and then they'll do some sort of corner route, hoping that it breaks the match coverage. Now, if you know the rules of how this works, we know that number 1 is gonna be locked on to Hines Ward. We know that our quarter flat from the linebacker position or the slot corner position is going to take number 2 vertical. And then we know that Earl Thomas is going to take that corner to the outside. Let's go ahead and watch this play out in real time, and you're gonna see that everything is gonna get matched down the field perfectly as we expect. Watching the instant replay, we see that everything matches correctly. No longer are they gonna be able to beat match down the field in trips tight end. Thanks for stopping by the Virtual Lab Partner YouTube today. We hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want more content like this, make sure you guys hop into the Discord or go check out our website at vlp.gg. We'll catch you on the next one.